Hey everyone, we're going to sketch the graph of this polynomial, and so let's fill out some information here. We're going to determine the degree. Since this is not in standard form, I'm merely going to add up my multiplicities here. We have 1 plus 1 plus 1, so our degree is 3. That's an odd number, and my lead coefficient is negative. And we'll talk about end behavior in just a minute, but these are the two things you need to know. For my y-intercept, that's when x is 0. So you just plug in 0 for all your x's, and that gives you 0. And your zeros are your x-intercepts, so that's when y is 0. So you have a 0 here, a 2 here, and a negative 3, with all multiplicity of 1. So it's going to be 0, 0, 2, 0, and negative 3, 0. Maximum turning points is where you look at your n here. So 3 minus 1, that's 2 turning points at the most. And this one we're going to determine where the graph is negative and the graph of f of x is positive. So let's go back to end behavior now. We have an odd degree and our lead coefficient is negative. So odd degree and our lead coefficient's negative. All right, so it resembles this graph right here, y equals negative x cubed. So basically, something like that. Now, that's going to be, when we graph from left to right, we're going to be starting in quadrant 2 and ending in quadrant 4. That means quadrant 2 is negative positive for your x and y, respectively, and quadrant 4 is positive negative xy, respectively. So our end behavior, which is right in here, all this means is x gets larger and larger from 0, or y actually gets smaller and smaller. That puts us in quadrant 4. And from 0, as our x gets smaller and smaller from 0, our y gets larger and larger from 0. That puts us in quadrant 2. So we're basically graphing from quadrant 2 to quadrant 4. So we're starting here and ending here. Now let's plot some of our information. We have 0 here, y-intercept as well, 2, and negative 3, 1, 2, 3. Now in this video, we're not going to worry about min and max. That's for another video. So we're just going to sketch the graph, even though we're on a grid here. We're going to sketch the graph and not worry about that part. We want the general shape. So coming from quadrant 2 up here, we go to negative 3. Now at negative 3, our multiplicity is an odd number. So that means we can cross. So just kind of come down and come back up to 0 here. That's also a multiplicity of 1. So we can cross and then kind of come back down. Again, we're not going to worry about how far up or down to go there. And then at 2, we also have an odd multiplicity. That means we can come down here. So there's a general form of your graph. Now let's talk about where our graph is. So above the graph is y greater than 0. Below the graph is where y is less than 0. So this is greater than 0. That means positive. That means negative. All right. So for positive, the only part we only have two parts. We have this part from negative infinity to negative 3. So f of x is positive from negative infinity to negative 3. It's also positive in this little area here, and that's from 0 to 2. For this part, where is f of x negative, or y negative? That's this little part in here. And that's from -3 to 0. And also this part is below the y equals. We're looking at that part. And that's from 2 to infinity. And that's it. Thank you. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.